I can't. How come I'm not like anybody else? And it was driving me crazy, and I felt like I needed to put him on some kind of drugs just because his life seemed so miserable, and we really didn't want to go to Ritalin. And so we kind of worked with him until we found these products, and it was amazing. We gave him the first dose at night, and the next morning, when we sat down we do scripture reading first, and when we sat down to do our scripture reading, he took his turn and he read fluently, not one word at a time, not sort of sounding them out and looking at them as if he had never seen them before. He read fluently, just as fluently as could be. And we were just shocked because he'd only had 2 doses, night and morning. And then he sat down at the computer and typed a story. And the story ended up being, he typed that day for like 6 or 7 hours with a little while off for lunch, straight through. When he came across a word he couldn't spell, he'd always just fly into a rage. This time, if he came across a word he didn't know, he'd either spell it the best he could and then use the spell checker, or he'd ask somebody and go right on. No rage, no frustration. And his story is absolutely amazing. He sent it into the contest right now. He won first place in the local contest, and it's in the statewide contest right now. It's an amazing story. He did a fantastic job, and I can always tell if he has remembered to take it or not, because if he hasn't taken it, then little things bother him, like he can't find his shoes, and he just gets so frustrated and so angry. And all you need to say is, hey, did you take your stuff? Did you take your pills? Nope. It's just really easy to tell you. It's made a huge difference in his life.
Oh, what a fantastic story.
That's great.
Great story. Oh, thanks, Jackie. I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
That's great.
Dr. Chris, any particular thing you'd want to add into that's classic or that you've observed?
Well, I'm not exactly sure why sugar is the main problem. There are a few concepts that we're fairly sure of, and that is that refined sugar is the main culprit because it gets metabolized in the digestive system much quicker, basically raises havoc with the rest of the metabolism of the sugar. And it causes a very high influx of insulin to regulate this immense absorption rate of the refined sugars. That's basically the mechanism involved there, is that we're just taking in the incorrect form of sugar, which we were never intended to receive that way. We were intended to receive sugar in a natural form, like from fruit or vegetables. And so now what's happened is through that violation, the digestive system is imbalanced, you might say. Its ability to tolerate these sugars has decreased, and then, of course, that leads into dysfunction. Where the enzymes come in is twofold. One is to try to help the body recover from this dysfunction by providing enzymatic action with the sugar that is inevitably going to be a part of our diet, and thus helping to regulate the metabolism better. That's the primary function of how that does that. The second deal is what it also does is it sort of gives the body an opportunity then to heal up certain aspects of the digestibility of these sugars by providing its own enzymes. When you have a dysfunctional system, it takes time for the body to heal, and getting this extra help from the enzymes gives you this extra time and ability for the body to heal it up. So it's a twofold situation, and it's in conjunction with a person having to reduce the amount of these refined sugars in their diet, and then supplementing in the enzymes to help the body recover and bring it back into balance, and also help regulate normal metabolic process of the sugar.
Fantastic, Chris. Thanks. You related that to the cofactors.
Because it is required to be metabolized so much, it depletes the body of the cofactors and coenzymes, or coenzymes are vitamins and cofactors are minerals. So that's why the minerals fit into this program, is that you end up depleting or utilizing the minerals available in the body just to try to maintain as long as it can while the person is taking in these processed sugars or violating natural digestive processes. So if you're depleting your vitamins and your minerals and your enzymes, it's somewhere along the lines, it's just going to raise havoc and something's going to give. and in this case, it's ADD. So the remedy, nutritionally, would be to supplement back in the vitamins and the minerals, or the enzyme cofactors and coenzymes, along with the food enzymes to bring the body back into balance.
Dr. Chris, what about the antioxidants and what benefit we may be receiving by the people that are ADD?
Well, the antioxidants, of course, anytime that you're going to have tissue dysfunction, you're going to have inflammatory processes going on, more than likely. And, of course, the antioxidants do have an effect on inflammation in attempting to reduce it, thereby also trying to bring back into balance normal function. Things like ginkgo have elements of them that get into the brain to help in the tissue in that particular organ. So there's a relationship there, I think, between utilizing antioxidants and also getting into specific regions of the body or specific organs, for example, the brain with ginkgo. And this helps then to bring back into balance the normal function of specific tissues or organs.
Okay, super. I've got one last one for you, Chris.
Okay.
Children are getting the attention here for ADHD. What about taking this malady into adulthood? What's the story there? Is it curable? Did we just learn to deal with it? What's the situation?
The basic premise is the body's a self-healing organism, and in order for it to continue to maintain its natural processes of self-healing, it needs to be fed. And if we continue to feed it appropriately, it has its best opportunity then to maintain proper health. That transcends all age. It doesn't matter how old you are. I think that the answer is basically the same thing.
Right. Fantastic, Chris. Thanks very much. Sure appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, let's see. Mike Hort.
Hi, Max.
How about telling us what's going on in your family?
Travis is a 5-year-old young man, great personality. We have managed to keep him away from the thought of having to take Ritalin by natural means. First, we took sugar out of his life. At about 3 years old, Travis had some challenges, and whenever he had sugar, he became a totally different person. Everybody out there listening, if you're listening to this because you have a challenge, you already know all the stories. You know what happens. You know what happens in school. You know what happens at home. You know what happens to the character of the persons we're talking about. It's not just Travis. This is happening to children all over America. So with sugar, we controlled it a lot. We changed his life a lot. Only half as much as his life changed when we were able to give him minerals, enzymes, and OPCs. The group together really made some major changes. And I want to say, when we first started giving him the products, we half-heartedly gave him the products, and we've seen minimal change. It wasn't until we got really regiment about giving him these products all day, every day. And what I mean by that is by giving Travis these products 3 times a day, or if it took 4 times a day. You could tell when there's a mood swing and there's a change that started to come on. We made sure that he had an enzyme whenever he ate anything. If it was a piece of toast, he had an enzyme. He had minerals at least twice a day and OPCs at least twice a day. What a difference. He's a little gentleman. All of the things that we were experiencing that could have led us to other means of, what a lot of other kids are having to take. I know there's some other programs they're trying to get all kinds of other types of programs going. But we combated it naturally, not even knowing that we had the major problem. So we're like so many others out there. We think that our child is just maybe a little more excited, a little more ornery than others, and that's normal. We think it's normal because there are so many other children out there that we can compare him to. So we think that's normal, and what we have to learn is it's not normal, it's common. There's a lot of other people out there, a lot of other children or even adults that we can compare it to that makes it common, but not normal. So to keep that in mind, there's a problem that needs to be addressed, and there are ways to address it naturally. It's really wonderful.
Oh, that's a fantastic story. Zoanne.
Yes.
we understand that you've got a wonderful story to share with us about nutrition in your family and ADHD.
We started about 4.5 months ago, and this has been the greatest 4.5 months we've ever had, ever. My son is 6.5 years old. In fact, I had talked to Jackie Ruland about natural things to help for the ADD, and this is what she told me about. And at that point, my son, he's in first grade, the principal was bringing him to my work to get him out of the school. He was running away from school. He was talking back to the teachers. He was a severe discipline problem, almost to the point of being kicked out of school in first grade. That was the main thing. We had just taken the written test through the school for ADD. The teacher made it out that he was an extreme discipline problem and that we had this meeting. They said I must not discipline him enough. I must not be structured enough with him. All these things that were my fault, that were his fault. And right after that meeting was when I started the pills. And I started with one a day, and I didn't see much difference for about a week. And so Jackie told me to try 2. And so I tried 2 pills a day over the weekend, and then that Monday, from that time period on, we have had perfect behavior all the way through. He won a little pin from the principal for his outstanding work. He got a trip to Sam's Town, all paid for by the principal, because he has done so fantastically. They're on a green card, yellow card, red card system, green card being the best. He was getting 2 to 3 red cards and a yellow card every week, which was bad. And he's gotten 1 red card in 4.5 months. His teacher says that she wishes that she could get this stuff for every kid in her class. Just everybody comes into my work. Every day I hear it. I hear feedback of how great he's doing. What is he doing? What are we doing? It's fantastic.
Oh, that's a fantastic story. I've learned a lot tonight, and I very much appreciate your being willing to share all of this. I think one of the things that I'd like to kind of end with here is Zoanne said, thank God. And it seems to me that we have properly titled what we're doing, and the success of this formulation, this combination of natural nutritional supplements with the 8, 10, 15 calls I get a day and the hundreds and hundreds of parents and children now that are benefiting from this, we really can, I think, in good consciousness, call it God's recipe. And what most of us are doing is 2 ounces of these minerals spread during the day, maybe first thing in the morning and then sometime mid to late afternoon. 40 milligrams of this proanthocyanidin, preferably one that comes from grapeseed extract, in combination with ginkgo biloba. And we think that you should take those roughly at the same time that you take the mineral supplementation. And then lastly, because there is no question that sugar is a major culprit in ADHD and ADD, we need to eliminate sugar as much as possible from all of our diets, but particularly from the diets of those that are very sensitive and impacted negatively by sugar. And in order to help ease the problem of the sugar that we are unable to eliminate, these multi-enzyme capsules are phenomenal because, as Dr. Chris has told us tonight, they assist mightily in metabolizing the sugar and getting that whole digestive process and the reaction of digesting sugar under control so that we don't get the mood swings and the metabolic swings. So we call that God's recipe. Hopefully with the information that you have been kind enough to share with us tonight, the recipe will spread and the resultant blessing will occur to as many people as possible. So I would just say again, thank you.
To discover how you can start your children on God's recipe, contact the person who thought enough to give you this tape. All proceeds from this tape are donated to ADD research.
Information and statements regarding dietary supplements discussed have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.